The Jungian, daily. Valentina never thought she'd be the therapist who needed therapy. At 31, she'd built a solid practice in a converted brownstone near the university, specializing in couples counseling. The irony wasn't lost on her that she'd been single for 2 years. It started with David. He walked into her office last September with that familiar wounded healer energy she recognized immediately. The gentle way he held pain, like he was protecting everyone else from it. 3 sessions in, she caught herself lingering on his words, replaying conversations during her evening runs along the river. The attraction felt magnetic, undeniable. Then came Marcus in November. Completely different, sharp-witted, intellectually challenging. The kind of guy who quoted philosophy during casual conversation. Again, that same pull, that same sense of recognition, like seeing someone she'd been waiting for without knowing it. By January, when she found herself drawn to Elena, a woman exploring her sexuality after leaving a 20-year marriage, Valentina finally had to face what was happening. She was developing feelings for clients with alarming regularity, and it was making her question everything about her professional competence. Sitting in her supervisor's office last week, the fluorescent lights humming overhead and the smell of burnt coffee filling the small space, Valentina finally said it out loud. "I think I'm attracted to damaged people." Her supervisor, Janet, leaned back in her chair with that knowing look Valentina had seen 1,000 times in her own practice. What if it's not about damage at all? The question followed Valentina home, echoing through her quiet apartment as she made dinner for one again. She'd always been drawn to certain types: the sensitive artist, the brilliant but troubled academic, the emotionally unavailable charmer. Even in her personal life, she seemed to magnetize people who needed fixing. That night she pulled out her old psychology textbooks, flipping through Jung's work on love and attraction. The words hit her like cold water. We don't fall in love with people. We fall in love with the parts of ourselves we see reflected in them. Suddenly, the pattern became clear. David's wounded healer energy, that was her own caretaking nature looking back at her. Marcus's intellectual intensity, her own mind craving stimulation and depth. Elena's courage to reinvent herself, Valentina's own longing for transformation. She'd been falling in love with mirrors. The realization was both liberating and terrifying. Every attraction she'd felt, every relationship that had left her feeling empty afterward, every client who stirred something inappropriate in her, they were all reflections of parts of herself she either couldn't acknowledge or desperately wanted to develop. She thought about her ex-boyfriend, Ryan, who'd left because she was always trying to therapize him. She'd been drawn to his emotional unavailability because it let her play the role she knew best, the one who gives, who heals, who never needs anything in return. She'd been loving her own capacity for nurturing, not him. And the clients she felt drawn to, they embodied qualities she admired but struggled to claim in herself. David's gentleness, Marcus's intellectual confidence, Elena's bravery to change course completely. Standing in her kitchen the next morning, watching steam rise from her coffee cup, Valentina realized she'd been approaching love all wrong. She'd been looking for completion in other people, instead of recognizing what she already contained. The insight felt like a door opening and closing simultaneously. On one hand, it explained so much about her relational patterns. On the other, it meant She had to completely reimagine what healthy attraction might look like. She started paying attention differently. When she felt drawn to someone, she'd pause and ask, "What am I seeing in them that I'm not seeing in myself?" When she caught herself idealizing a client's courage or creativity or emotional intelligence, she'd write it down later, recognizing it as information about her own disowned capacities. It's messy work, this business of loving consciously. Some days she still catches herself falling for mirrors, but now she knows the difference between loving someone and loving what they reflect back to her about herself. The real question isn't who you're attracted to, it's what that attraction is trying to teach you about the parts of yourself you're still getting to know.